Good morning and good afternoon, everyone, for this special WoodWing APAC event, especially time for Australia, New Zealand this time. So in the next 30 minutes, we will share you with some best practices and tools to streamline your content workflow, especially focusing on maximizing your ROI. So allow me to introduce you to our speakers today. We have Andrew Lomas, who is the CEO of Creative Folks based in Sydney. And Creative Folks has been our certified platinum partner of WoodWing since 2006. So they are very capable, and you're in good hands with Andrew and his team. Myself, I'm the managing director for WoodWing Asia Pacific and responsible for the WoodWing software businesses in Asia Pacific region. We also have a special guest today with Jeff Gapp, who is our product manager, joining us all the way from the United States. Before I pass on to Andrew, quick housekeeping. We have a question coming up. If you have any question coming up, please put it on the chat box. And there is a poll that we are going to show on screen halfway through. So please cast your votes, and Andrew could, reply on that one. And I hope you enjoy this session today. And over to you, Andrew.
Thanks, John. Good morning, good afternoon. Yes, we're across the time zones of Australia and New Zealand and parts of Asia Pacific. So thank you for joining me today. So our agenda today, we're going to cover off the conversation that many of us are having, which is around this constant chaos and clutter that we're dealing with when we're dealing with managing content and producing content. And it's something that takes up a lot of time. It creates a lot of challenges around it. I'm going to talk to you about how we can move forward out of that current place. We're going to talk about the fact that content across all these channels that we're creating, it's really important to start looking at repurposing and reusing that as efficiently as possible. And intertwined into that, we're going to dovetail into the role of integration. And it's a crucial aspect of getting content and data out to those channels for people to consume it in a very timely and efficient manner. We're then going to talk about a use case with a customer of ours where we've integrated their marketing tasks and planning with their approvals process out to their larger teams, and we've got WoodWing creating the content in the middle. And then Jeff's going to take us through some of the innovations that WoodWing's bringing along with AI and how they can deliver even faster ways of generating content using those AI tools. And at the end, we're going to cover it off for some Q&A. So many of you live in a day-to-day world where content has to be planned, it has to be created, and it has to be approved before then on sending that to either, whether it be traditional printing, whether it be digital teams, or whether it be others. And the challenge is that most of the time we're marred by this kind of emails backwards and forwards, Teams chats, dealing with attachments which have various version numbers and things like that. And it's a labor of love that we've got stuck into. It's a status quo that we've just got used to using. But the reality is we can't scale and build like that if we don't have the content and other things connected. Now, what can help bring that together is understanding that content sits as an interactive part of both the briefing and planning stage of that process and the approvals and correction stages, right? And if you don't have your content interacting with that, then you're spending time going and searching for old jobs and attaching them to briefs, or you're sending out PDFs and email trails and trying to collate all those responses coming back for those corrections to be made. And the content teams are often disconnected. So to do that, some people have started to realize that they needed to address that by planning and handling those things using work collaboration tools. And so I'm quite interested to know, and I'm going to run a poll, if any of you out there have already started dealing with handling managing of those tasks and other things by using tools like Monday or Asana or Rike, or maybe you use Kanban boards, such as your Trellos and that kind of stuff, where you're doing that in Microsoft Planner's got sort of those sorts of things in there? Or are you embedded with, your digital teams forcing you to use Jira and forcing you to put tickets into that, which doesn't really work very well, when you're working on content. It's really just sort of instructions to other people. Okay, that's very interesting. So some of you are already taking on tools like Monday, but a number of you are having to be wed yourself to those Trellos and Jira boards. That's really good. It's good to know. So in addition to doing that, in addition to intersecting your content in the middle with your briefing and your approval process, once that content's been approved, you really need to consider about repurposing and reusing that content. Now, if you can, your tool like WoodWing allows you to store all that content and create it in one place, and it gives you a single source of that approved content. And built into the solution is the ability to create renditions. You can send it off to mobile apps. You can send it off to websites. You can send it off to print channels. So you can write all your content in one central location and then repurpose and reuse that using WoodWing Studio. In addition to that, WoodWing's also enhancing its digital asset management tool by providing tools and facilities to automate the creation of variations of images, because we know the time our designers have spent, they're being bombarded by requests, their workload is increasing. So to provide a self-help mechanism for those approved pieces of content that are on brand, for them to be used by things like social teams and others. So I'm just going to show a short video of how the new photo editor that WoodWing Assets has available to you. This is just a minute and a half.
Hi everybody, just wanted to show the new photo editor in Assets within the WoodWing Cloud. What we're going to do is use the photo editor to open the image up. We can apply some filters to the image, and I'm following down here. We have some adjustments for brightness and contrast, of course, and a variety of other kinds of refinements here. We can change the focus, so we can come in here and say we want to focus on the eye. We can apply different kinds of frames to the tool. So here we have a film strip frame. We can adjust the opacity of the frame. We can do some kinds of overlays within here. We can put some text on. We can also use some text design tools that come with the tool. Here we are, so write something. We'll go ahead and delete that. And we'll go ahead and delete this guy as well. We can also put on some stickers. So here you have a wide variety of different kinds of stickers you can put on, and you can of course have a brush. When you save the item, you can save it as a revision of the current file, which would be a new version, or as a variant, which is a new file. So again, you might have a web variant. We're going to go ahead and just save this. And now if we look, we see that our version was created here. So lots more to know about the photo editor. Contact.
As you can see in that video, inside the digital asset management platform, a user can create variations and modifications of that content. And once that's created, whether either as a new version or overriding the existing one, you then need to get it downstream. And one of the challenges, of course, is we'll download that asset. We'll then go and send it to someone in a particular channel. We'll then resolution it and change it for the various different social platforms. But you don't need to do that. And this is where integration comes into play. So we've got a huge amount of experience here at Creative Folks integrating the WoodWing solution with both upstream systems like pricing and PIN information, also connecting content to CRM teams and sales teams so they can consume the latest brochures and content. But also sending it that approved content down to, as we mentioned, social channels, but also e-commerce platforms and other things. So integrating your solution in a composable sense into your ecosystem also improves ROI and reduces amount of waste, because you're not sending those approved pieces of content to someone inside that channel who then has to repurpose it and manually upload it to the other system. You can literally approve it inside the DAM. A trigger will send off, and it will then create all the various renditions and approvals that you need to do. It saves a massive amount of time and creates a dynamic ability to get that product and that content out to market to be consumed by your customers and your brands. So next I'm going to talk about a use case. And, in this particular regard, the customer had deployed Monday as a work collaboration tool across its organization. And inside the marketing team, they needed to look at the way they were using a tool like Monday, but there was still that disconnect to the content creation teams. So there'd be a task that would go to someone in a design role, and then they would create that content offline. And the purpose of manually getting all that approvals back, all the correspondence, was getting lost outside of that task. And so Monday was just becoming sort of just like a Google sheet. It was just a to-do list. So what we've done is work with them in combining that and also integrating it to their downstream site core systems for use in there. So in this use case, we've got a tool called Siphon, which is our integration platform that we use that sits in the middle. And this is a pre-built integration you can subscribe to now. It allows you to plan your tasks in Monday, so all your campaigns and structures. It can then triggers an event to go and create content repositories for that content. Could be a photo shoot, could be a catalog page, could be an EDM or something like that inside the WoodWing system. That content is then collaborated and created upon, and all those changes and updates are then synced back into the Monday. So you've got the transparency between both the teams. You've got all the communication information in the Monday platform, accessible by all the people working on it. And the people who are getting assigned those tasks don't need to search and find things in other areas because they've got direct links to it. So I'm going to show you a short video now. It takes about 5 minutes. And in this video, I'm going to take you through how this integration works. And I'll just talk over the top and explain what's happening at each stage. Just bear with me. Okay, sorry about that. A little bit of clicking. Okay, so in this video, what you will see is a Monday board, if you're familiar with it. Inside that Monday board, we've got 3 streams of work. There's a catalog, there's an EDM, and there's some social stuff around the bottom. And you'll see there's some sub-items and sub-tasks that are required for this particular channel of content to be done. So in the catalog channel, what we've got is the ability to create the spring campaign. We're selecting a particular template that we want to use, and we're assigning that task to someone and selecting that as the brief. Once that brief has been selected, it's going off via the integration and triggering a link back of the place where that's going to be stored inside Studio. Similarly, for the brief for the photo shoot, it's going off and triggering a placeholder in the digital asset management platform, and it's doing that based on a defined structure. It's also creating an upload share link that can be sent to an external provider or someone internally to provide and upload those assets into the job. In a similar vein, inside the channel, you can also pick a digital template because WoodWing Studio supports the creation of digital content as well as print content. And so this then creating a link inside Studio that gives, again, inside the Monday task, a direct link to that particular piece of content and allows the person to start populating that content and completing it based upon the template that's been defined. And again, inside your social posts, you can, again, pick a particular template that has structure for your social posts, and you can build up that content, all using the assets and things that are associated with this particular campaign. So just going back to those tasks at the beginning now, we've got a link to the assets. As I said, it's created a hierarchical storage location inside the DAM. You haven't had to manually do that. The integration's done that. And as a user, we're going to provide some image assets that we want to use in this particular campaign. And those have been uploaded through the interface. But similarly, as I mentioned, you've also got a link in the Monday which can be sent to an external photographer. And so this person is taking the photos or the videos, whatever they may be, is curating them and preparing them, and then sending them back as a selection for you to receive. And once those images have been received back, and that person doesn't have to have a license, they can be sent. They come back into WoodWing, and the beauty about this is with the Monday integration, all those selects are notified to you via Monday, and you can actually go in there inside the Monday board and see those assets that have been returned as part of the task. So again, you don't have to dovetail off into the digital asset management platform and find those. When it comes to the layout, the link to the layout is available to you immediately. The designer can open that as part of the task, start working on that layout based upon the template that's been chosen, can make changes as you would in InDesign to both the text. And what we're going to do here is actually add an image to this layout from the DAM, from those images that were selected. And so they've now been added to the layout, linked to that particular layout and placed automatically. That's created a relationship between those image assets and the layout. And now we're checking in that layout so that all the back-end renditions and processing can be done accordingly. Now, as part of that process, of course, you want that layout to be reviewed and approved by people within the broader ecosystem who won't necessarily be using WoodWing. They'll be using Monday. So by going into Monday and selecting a status, in this case, review, we're now triggering through the integration the generation of a proof. That proof has changed the status inside Monday. And in turn, it's created a page proof review process, which has then gone off to the stakeholders that have been configured inside page proof. So again, cohesively connecting connecting the content creation, the approval process, and the planning all together in one space. But doing that content and having it connected is only one thing. What AI can do, what WoodWing can do is also provide some AI tools that can enhance that content even further. And for that, I'll pass over to Jeff.
Very good. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it. So what is next? Integrating AI into the mix. So we have spent, as everybody else, spent a great deal of time in the last year and a half taking a look at AI and how we can do things within our content production systems. So some of those goals include things like creating more engaging social media posts for those writing the content, more compelling summaries, reviewing, doing an analysis of the content that you have created, and also translations, which is again an interesting model. All of this is done either within the assets tool or the studio tool within the WoodWing Cloud. And so what I'd like to do next is I want to just play a video of something that we have that, or the different tools we've created. And let's take a look at them right now. Go ahead and play the video. Hi, everybody. This is Jeff Gapp, and I am the WoodWing product manager for WoodWing Connect. And the idea of this video is just to kind of give a quick overview of some of the things that we do with AI. First example is here within our assets tool. This also, by the way, applies to our swivel tool, but in this case, we're in assets. We've got two images selected here. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to tag them. Now, the particular workflow that this customer wanted is to be able to change a status. And if we go ahead and we just set this to production, what ends up happening, of course, is a webhook is sent out to the AI tool, and then the images are brought back. As you can see here, here are the tags for each of the images. These are combined, right? So if we only wanted to see this, we would see here. And if you'll notice, there's words like this. And what this is also doing is tagging for languages. And so if we scroll down a little bit, we see the language is Dutch. And then we see within this environment, here are the different tags, and appropriately, the default is English, with the secondary language being Dutch, but the default language could be any language we want. So that's a quick example within Studio, or within the Assets tool. Let's switch over to Studio. And what we have here is a digital article within Studio we look at the article quickly, we see that it's very, very simple article. It's got an image, and then it's got some text. And all right, so there we are. This happens to be in the state of Michigan, near where I live. We're going to go ahead and close that. And here what we're going to then do is we're going to come into the contextual menu, and we've created a set of tools. And so one example here is create an SEO optimized digital article. So if we go ahead and select that, it's now going out and talking to an AI tool. Coming back, it will then create the new article in the same dossier. And here we are, things to do in Grand Haven. If we open this article up, we'll see that it is fundamentally different, right? A much different presentation of the way that the article is, and it's SEO friendly. Another example might be that we want to go ahead and translate this image. So we could come in here and say translate from to German, from English to German. So there we are. And again, in a moment, we're getting a message here in the system that says it's doing something, and then we are going to go ahead and get rid of this. We'll see another one here show up in a moment. That will be the translation for, there it is, translation into German for this particular item. Let's just take a quick look. And there we are, into German. Other options that you have here within the Copilot mechanism, we can generate a summary of the article. We can also go create a Google search that will give us similar content. So let's go ahead and choose generate a summary. Let's go ahead and actually correctly select the item. So generate and summary. There we go. And it's going to generate a summary for us. And there we are. So now, as you can see here, the summary is now inside of our clipboard. We can go into the article and paste the summary in as well. Last example that we'll do here is we'll select our article again after getting rid of our messages here. They go away in time, but let's help them. So now we can come in here and say, let's go ahead and we could do related content. So Google search query. And here we are. Now these are things that we can put into Google as search phrases and then go ahead and find them. They also have been conveniently included in the clipboard. Last but not least, go ahead and remove that. We'll come in here, scroll down, and we'll go to Analyze. And so here in a moment, once again, we'll get it, and here is the analysis of the article. So it's telling us how we can improve it, right? Adding more specific details and so on. So this is a variety of examples within the Studio tool that we've created. Would love to hear your thoughts on this and what else you would like to see. Again, thank you, and we really appreciate you attending the webinar. Take care. And we are back. So once again, thank you for taking the time to take a look at that video. I'm going to ask Andrew to come back on stage and conclude the webinar. Andrew.
Thanks, Jeff. That's awesome, and it's great to see you're taking advantage of all that amazing capability. And of course, WoodWing Studio being able to create content for multi-channel usage. You can see multilingual, create summaries and SEO. Means you've got one central location to create all that content, and through integration, of course, you can distribute that out to wherever it needs to be consumed. And so in conclusion, the things that we've discussed today is the world that we live in the status quo of emails and chats and dealing with things in a conventional manner via static spreadsheets and things like that just isn't scalable. But if you have chosen to go down the path of building a work collaboration tool into place, there's still a gap between the content creators and the planners and the approvers that can be bridged by using an integration like we've shown today. And by doing that, as you can see, you've removed a whole bunch of waste associated with searching and finding things. You've given people specific tasks. The content is related to that task, and it's transparently available to everyone to understand. As we quite rightly saw, the image and automation, once you've got that content approved, can then be enhanced and it can be converted. But not forgetting that an integration as a whole also means we can pull things like onto those layouts and pages and content, things like product data and product information, again, enhancing and streamlining it. So to speed up and maximize your ROI on your end-to-end production, remove a number of manual steps, decrease your timeline to market, and really benefit from the ability to scale up that content, you really need to consider integrating your content systems with your work collaboration and other business systems. So we've got a little bit of time for some questions and answers, which are available. I'd invite the other parties to come back on stage and join us. It's fantastic. Okay. Is the integration to Rike similar to Monday.com? Would you choose Monday or Kind? Look, you can integrate with Rike as well as Monday in fact, we have an integration that we've built that allows you to create things in Rike and push it into WoodWing. PageProof at the moment doesn't have an integration with Rike that I'm aware of. But certainly, your decision as to whether you use Rike on Monday is down to a number of factors, and I'm happy to have a chat with you offline as to what the best choice would be there. Another question is, those AI features seem really valuable to me as a marketer. Look, some of those AI features are textual, so you need Studio for those to work, because Studio is where text is managed. Some of those AI functions are to do with the rich assets, and they exist in assets. Jeff, do you want to add to anything to that?
No, that's exactly right. So the things that you're seeing in those demos are particular to the system that they're for, right? So tagging, of course, is for images, text for Studio, and hey, we're also open to any suggestions. We'd love to hear if you have anything else you'd like to see. So please let us know.
Yep, I think it's really good to be able to see today how the whole integration, right, from marketing planning, production, and then of course we have PageProof as a partner as well, a technology partner here. And the idea is, the most important part is that you have everything on a single glass pane, right? So that users don't have to jump here and through. So like Andrew has demonstrated, where on a single web browser, you are able to complete your tasks, going through the different tool set, and then the view at the end result. So I hope today's session gives everybody a little bit of idea of what can be automated, what can be achieved with AI. Obviously, it is a game changer, Jen, and that's where I think in today's system, no one system vendor can lead by itself, right? We need to have the best of breed. We need to have integration. And that's why we have partners like Creative Folks who are very well experienced in this field and in this region, as well as we have a team from product side like Jeff, able to help you with additional integrations. With that said, we have 6 seconds left. Any last words, Andrew and Jeff?
No, I just wanted to thank everybody for attending today, and if you're watching it on the recording afterwards, if you need any more information about the integrations that we provide, both pre-built like the Monday one, which we call Siphon Connect for Monday and WoodWing, with PageProof, or Siphon Connect for anything else, then feel free to reach out to me here in Sydney, and I can help you there. John's based in Kuala Lumpur, so anybody in the APAC region who needs more regional questions answered, they can reach out to John and he can put you in touch with someone in your local area. Jeff, thanks very much for joining us from Detroit today. Appreciate your time.
My pleasure.
And thank you everybody for attending.